Good day everybody, this is Pillar from Tales Productions and welcome back to Star Trek Online. This is a free-to-play account playing through the story of a 23rd century Starfleet officer, and we have just completed the Breen invasion storyline. And I want to do just a quick review episode of it. Now these reviews have normally sort of taken a little bit of time because I've thrown in a bit of housekeeping and stuff and skill management and ship upgrades and all that stuff, but at the point I'm at in the gameplay now, I have nothing else to upgrade. So my ship I went through a couple of episodes ago because I had a bit of trouble in the first couple of episodes of the Breen story with me dying a lot. So I've gone through and upgraded quite a bit of this ship with the help from a couple of people in the Twitch chat, and I feel like that did make a pretty decent improvement. We did quite well after that, or it just got easier in other ways, I don't know. And as far as I can see, everybody's sort of ready to go. So I've got nothing to manage and do, so we're just going to go through a very quick review of the Breen storyline. So I'm sorry if this is a really quick video. I can't imagine it being over like 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, but we'll see. So, first thing that I always talk about with any of these series, are they alright to call them series? I think so. First thing I always talk about is the story. So, I have said since the beginning, I'm sorry if I keep repeating it, but the story is the most important thing about this game, for me anyway. I'm not sure if it is for everybody, I assume it is. For me it definitely is. The only reason I come back to this game is for the story, and I feel like the Breen invasion again is no slack in that regard. The story's incredible, really good, really good actually, because the original story from the Next Generation of, they're called the Preservers in this. I'm not sure if that's what they're called in the original episode. I keep thinking Progenitor, but I don't think that's right. Maybe it is the Preserver from the originals as well, but they sort of got left at the end of that episode and never brought up again. And I always thought that was such a massive, like, overarching story to the whole thing that it would be such a good one to investigate and get into a bit more and see the next step of. And this does that. It does it a treat as well. It's really good, really well done. The end of it is incredible. There's no sort of... So I feel like sometimes in Star Trek Online they allow things to happen to a point, but they don't want to shift the story too much. Like, they don't want to make anything too big happen, because I guess now this is considered canon, is it? I don't know. I guess it is. So maybe anything that happens in the game, they probably don't want to be too different to what some people would put into movies or episodes in the future. I don't know if that's a real concern of theirs, I'm not sure, but it feels like this series, the ending was actually quite a massive thing, where the Preservers are actually sort of back with us now, and a few of them have woken up and they'll talk to us and share their knowledge. It's incredible. Really cool, I really like it. And all the way through, I don't feel like there was ever anything lacking from the storyline. Really good. So massive positive on the storyline. Now, the only reason I'm not here saying that the storyline is now my new favourite is purely because of the length. Now, the last thing I want to do is say that every storyline needs to be 20 episodes long. I'm definitely not saying that. In fact, it's really refreshing having a fairly short one. Just 5 episodes, fitting a really good storyline in. I think that's really cool. But it definitely doesn't sort of stack up to, I mean, just for instance, the Klingon War, what's that, 20 episodes? Something like that. And even though it's sort of split up into 2 parts, it still flows, it's still good. The Romulan Mystery, I think, was my previous favourite, so that's not too many actually, that's 9, 10, 11. Cardassian Struggle is 10, I think. 9, 10, yeah. So it is much shorter, obviously half the size of any other. But I think the quality of the storyline is enough for that to not be a problem. But again, it does mean that I can't have it as my favourite just because it's not quite long enough. But definitely not a problem, not something I would put down as a negative. Still works out really well. Although, to be fair, I can see the next one actually, the Borg Advance, that's only 5 as well, isn't it? So maybe it will be a problem once I've done 2 in a row of it. I wouldn't mind if like one earlier on was like 5, then there's a couple of big ones, then another 5, then a couple of big ones, maybe something like that. But no, this works out. I didn't mind the Breen invasion storyline for that at all. Really good. The other thing I wanted to talk about quickly was, if you watched the episodes, then you saw that I had a problem with the difficulty within the first couple of episodes. Now, I think that's just because I've sort of reached max level and my equipment because I've still been doing fairly early on missions, hasn't been up to the standard that a max level character should be at. So the mission sort of scale up to me being max level, but I didn't have the equipment to make me a proper max level character, even though, because it's such a big jump, I guess. And it's difficult for the game to obviously scale for a max level character because there's such a massive difference between max level characters. I just hit level 65, and then somebody else who's been, well, obviously not level 65 because Victory's Life has just come out, but someone who's been max level for like a year, and then I've just hit it, there's going to be a massive difference between the two of us. So I understand how the scaling would be fairly difficult in that regard, and it definitely did jump up for me within these first 2 episodes. But really, it only took a little bit of investigating and re-equipping for that to not be a problem anymore. And that's the way it should be. If anything, the difficulty in all the previous ones should be tuned a little bit higher. Now, I know you can up the difficulty, so obviously that option is there. But I feel like the normal difficulty on everything before max level should be tuned up a little bit, so that the max level isn't such a big shock. But there's definitely not a problem with the max level sort of difficulty being difficult. That's fine. And all you had to do was think about it a little bit, re-equip and get out there, and it worked out pretty well for me. Although, to be fair, Cold Comfort was the first one I did with my new equipment, and there's no fighting in that. Speaking of Cold Comfort, I had a bit of a warning from one of my watchers on Twitch saying that it was going to be the worst episode ever, and generally people hate it because of the way it sort of resets through getting the wrong answers and stuff. So if you were to get the wrong answer on and then the interrogation questions, or if you asked the wrong questions maybe, then it would all reset and you'd have to start again. I obviously didn't have any problems with that at all, so I'm sorry if I gave an unrealistic impression of that episode because I just got lucky. I'm not sure. Let me know whether you think I should replay that just for the sheer hatred of the mission. I'll certainly give it a go. But I think that's everything I really want to say about the Breen invasion. Generally a really positive part of the game. As, to be fair, they all have been. I haven't come across a bad series yet. Now, obviously, I've come across a few where I've had negative points to say about them, but none of them that I'd say were an overall negative. And that's a really good thing for the game. Really good thing. Also, final point, the polish of the game has to be mentioned here as being improved. Am I right in saying that the Breen invasion is a newer part of the game than the previous bits? So it was added after release and the other bits were... I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure if the Romulan mystery changed quite a bit when the Romulan sort of expansion came out. Can't remember. But I think there's a definite increase in polish on the Breen invasion storyline. It's definitely thought through a little bit more. There's only sort of one point where a story part seemed to jump ahead a little bit and missed out maybe something, but it was easily countered, easily made up for. So generally the polish, I think, was a lot better in the Breen invasion. Maybe it's because it was so short, so it didn't get time to exhibit any lack of polish, but worked out really well. So the first time I have not complained about polish. There you go. There you go. It's happened. I've got to the end of a storyline without complaining too much about it. There you go. That's a good one. And I think that's the end of my review of the Breen invasion. I hope you like it. I hope you agree with all the points. Please let me know in the comments down below. In the next episode, I'll be moving on to the Borg Advance, starting with reporting on Borg activity. Sounds easy. I haven't fought the Borg yet because I'm a 23rd century character. This will be the first time I face the Borg, and I'm pretty excited. I'm really, really excited. Okay, so that is the end of the Breen invasion review. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, hope you are enjoying, and I hope you will enjoy. But by far, the most important thing is to look forward to the next episode of Star Trek Online.